Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really incredible cinematic look at what it actually takes to succeed. We're going to follow the story of a young guy named Daniel who, well, he absolutely refused to quit. And this isn't just a nice motivational story, it's a real breakdown of the indomitable human will. If you've ever felt like the odds were completely stacked against you, or if you've been tempted to just walk away from your goals, you'll definitely want to pay close attention to Daniel's journey today.
So, let's kick things off with the million-dollar question. What is the true secret to success? What's super interesting here is what the story implicitly tells us it is not. Success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about being the richest, and it's definitely not about being the most naturally talented. So, if it's none of those, what on earth is it? Well, as we're going to see with Daniel, success belongs pretty exclusively to the people who just refuse to quit.
Okay, let's set the stage. Daniel had this massive, life-altering dream. He wanted to build a wildly successful business and completely change his family's trajectory forever. Now, usually we assume you need massive advantages to do something like that, right? Money, connections, special privileges. But Daniel's starting point? Absolutely nothing. He had zero money, zero connections, and literally no special advantages to speak of.
And you know, when you have nothing but a huge dream, the world tends to react in a pretty predictable way. It's impossible. That is exactly what everyone told him. And let's be real, hearing that phrase over and over again, it's heavy. When everyone around you is just constantly broadcasting doubt, it builds this massive psychological wall. It really sets the stage for a rough road ahead.
Step one of his journey? Well, despite all the naysayers, Daniel made a conscious choice to try anyway. He was up before sunrise every single morning, grinding away at his dream. But that first year, it wasn't some triumphant movie montage. It was a total, unmitigated disaster.
His dream didn't just stall out, it completely crumbled. His business flat out failed. He lost most of his savings, and those people who said it was impossible, they literally laughed at him. A lot of them told him to just go get a normal job and stop wasting his time. You can imagine the heavy emotional toll this took. He poured everything he had into this, only to fall straight into an abyss of failure and public ridicule. He felt totally broken. Picture this scene for a second. He's sitting all alone in a small, cramped apartment, just staring at a table that is completely covered in past due bills. This is rock bottom. Sitting right there in the quiet, Daniel legitimately wondered if everyone else was right. He seriously questioned if his dream was just way too big and if he should just throw in the towel. It's that dark moment of vulnerability where giving up actually makes total logical sense.
But right then, in that completely suffocating moment, something shifted. He remembered his grandfather's words. The moment you feel like quitting is often the moment you're closest to success. Those words just echoed in his mind right as he was standing on the absolute edge of walking away. And that's the crucial point here. This one piece of inherited wisdom became the spark that stopped him from quitting. It changed everything.
And this next part brilliantly illustrates what that looked like. The very next morning, instead of giving up, he started over. Step 1, he looked at every single mistake he made and learned from it. Step 2, he meticulously studied successful entrepreneurs to figure out what they were actually doing right. Step 3, he deliberately improved his own skills. And Step 4, he worked harder than he ever had in his life. He wasn't just trying the same failing strategy over and over, he totally transformed his mindset and his methods.
Now, here is the absolute core of the story. When the journey got painful, and it got really painful, the others stopped. They complained and they quit. But Daniel, he kept moving forward. While others complained, he was learning. While others quit, he kept fighting. Look, make no mistake, he had days where he doubted himself, but his actions were the exact opposite of the norm. That right there is what raw grit looks like.
Let's look at how this persistence compounded over time. At 12 months, like we saw, it was just painful early failures. But months turned into years, and then a massive turning point hit. Right around the 3-year mark, a major company actually noticed his tireless work and offered him a partnership. By year 4, he was seeing explosive business growth, way beyond what he imagined. And if we jump ahead to 10 years, Daniel became a millionaire.
This was his massive triumph. The landscape completely shifted for him. Customers arrived in droves. Profits skyrocketed. Opportunities were multiplying everywhere. But honestly, my favorite detail in all of this, those former doubters, the exact same people who laughed at him and told him to get a normal job, they were now coming to him asking for his advice. Talk about a satisfying twist of irony.
So fast forward a few years. He's sitting there as a newly minted millionaire, and a reporter is interviewing him. The reporter asks the exact question we started this explainer with.
What was the secret to your success? Now think about everything you went through. The failed business, the bills, the laughter, the years of absolute grinding. What do you think his answer was?
Here it is. Daniel smiled and said, "I wasn't the smartest person. I wasn't the most talented person. I simply stayed in the game longer than everyone else." Just let that sink in for a second. His success wasn't rooted in genius or privilege. Outlasting the difficulty, outlasting the failure, that was his definitive solution. Successful people don't succeed because life is somehow easier for them. They succeed because they simply refuse to quit when things get hard.
And that brings us to the mechanics of persistence, which applies directly to whatever you're building right now. Step 1, every failure teaches a lesson. Step 2, every setback builds strength. And step 3, every challenge creates growth. Look, the road to success is never a straight line. There are going to be massive obstacles and disappointments. There will be times when quitting feels 100 times easier than pushing forward. But those painful moments aren't standing in the way of the process, they actually are the process.
So let's redefine a common word based on everything we've just unpacked. A winner is not a person who never fails. A winner is a person who never quits. If you keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep believing, success will eventually find you. Remember Daniel staring at those bills on the table? Your biggest breakthrough might literally be just one single step away right when things are at their absolute hardest.
Which brings us to the final provocative question I want to leave ringing in your ears today. Will you stay in the game? The next time life gets incredibly hard and the naysayers start getting loud, I want you to remember Daniel's story. Don't quit. Just stay in the game. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.